Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, guys. Today we'll start purchasing to pay processing. As you know, we missed the recording part, so we'll do it again. And inshallah, today we'll complete this chapter. So we have like 10 lessons, inshallah, and we'll start with our the business process for our purchasing system. Now, if you see, we have like purchasing processes start with the purchase requisition. But this is optional. Purchasing process can start directly from the purchase order as well. But in our case study, we will start our purchasing process from the purchase requisition. The next step is to determine the okay, this is here we have determination of requirement, which is like purchase requisition. Then we will determine the source of supply. Source of supply you can mention in purchase requisition, but the final say will be the purchasing department. They may accept your advice for the source of supply, or they may go for their own source of supply. So this is depending on the purchasing organization, guys, or purchase department. Then we will have a vendor selection. Once you got the quotation from different sources, then you go for maintenance of quotation. You reject two of them and accept one of them. And then we will start the purchase order. So we'll create the purchase order based on the vendor we have selected. You can create the purchase order from your contract, which you have already made, from scheduling agreement. You might have a scheduling agreement that I will be purchasing this material every month or every 10 days or every 15 days based on that scheduling agreement. So you will be creating the purchase order. And then we have the purchase order monitoring. The purchase order monitoring start from the placing of the purchase order until you receive the goods into your store. So that is what we call purchase order monitoring. So you receive the goods, your inventory will go high, the quantity and the value of the inventory will also increase. And the next step is invoice verification. So you can do the invoice verification, means the material which you have received, your invoice verification, in the invoice verification, you will make sure that, okay, the invoice which you got is matching the goods you received. Then we have handling of payment, means you will make the payment whether through the bank or through the check or whatever the mean is. So that is how that is the purchasing business process. Any question on this slide, guys, before we move on? Now, so this was the business process. Now we'll talk about our organizational level data that we need to have in our purchasing cycle or purchasing business process. So the topmost is client, and so in other words, we can say that every transaction we create in the purchasing or in the material management will have all these columns or all these data. Then we have a company code, and then plant, storage location, and purchasing organization. So every transaction in business process will contain all these five organization level data, every transaction. So company code is for accounting purposes. You have like American company or German company. So this transaction is related to American company. So then you will use the American company code. If this belongs to German company, then you will use the German company code. And similarly, every company has different plants. So you can mention the plant and the store location and the purchasing organization. In our example, we have one purchasing organization. And then we have purchasing group. By the way, purchasing group is not the part of organizational data. It's a 3-digit code only for the reporting purposes. But the purchasing group, you can say that it consists of one person or two person or more than two persons belong to the purchasing department. So they are responsible for purchasing any special item. For example, if you are supplying material to the hospitals, so one group might be responsible for purchasing the bed sheets. So that is what we call purchasing group. Any question here, guys? Now, organizational level inventory management. Since it is purchasing, or you can say material management module. So in material management, we are keeping all our material into the storage location. And storage location belongs to a plant, and plant belongs to a company code, and the companies belongs to the client. So if you see here, we have like different storage locations. They are connected to plants, and plants are connected to company code, and company codes are connected to the client. Now, we can reuse the storage location number. If you see here, we have a 001, and then again we have a 001 in another plant, storage location. 002 storage location in another plant, and similarly we are having 002 storage location. So these numbers can be, we can reuse these numbers in different plants, but plant numbers are unique. You see that within the client level. So the two company codes cannot have a plant number 1000. No way. So if you enter the plant number, that is unique in this client. So 1000, 1100, 2000. So these are our plants. Now, if you see here, we have an explanation for the purchasing organization. Purchasing organization basically responsible for buying material from the vendors. And they're responsible for completing the contracts, purchasing contracts, dealing with the terms and conditions for discounts from the vendors. So they are responsible for that. Purchasing group is a group of people or a person who is responsible for buying a certain purchasing activity. As I mentioned, that maybe they are responsible for buying the bed sheets or some particular equipment from another country or from another vendors. And this purchasing group is only for reporting purposes. That's it. Sorry. So this was the purchasing organization and purchasing group we talked about. In a company code, we can have a plant can have a purchasing organization. So if you see here, we have an example of, we have like each plant is having a separate purchasing organization. And this purchasing organization belong to the company code. And it is possible that we can have We can have one purchasing organization for more than one plant in one company code. So now this company code has one organization, purchasing organization, and is responsible for purchasing material for two different plants. So this is possible. And now if you look at it, that we have a purchasing organization that is responsible for buying three different plants, and these three different plants belongs to three different company codes. So this is like a cross-company code. Huh? So one organization is buying for one company code, another company code, and another company. So three companies. So every plant can have a purchasing organization. More than one plant can have a purchasing organization. And this is the third one, that we can have a cross company code purchasing organization. One purchasing organization responsible for purchasing all company codes, plants. By the way, very important from the exam point of view in a certification, especially these slides, these slides are very important from exam point of view. Now, we have, now we will talk about master data. So we just discussed about the organizational data. Now, material master is one of the biggest record. It may have like many what you call many views. Each view is responsible for for different department. So it may have some, it has some data regarding the purchasing. So you will have a purchasing view that purchasing organization guys can look for those fields. If you are selling this material, then we have a sales view. People in sales can look at those materials or those fields, and they can work accordingly. Similarly, we have like MRP. If you are using it in manufacturing, if you're using this material in manufacturing, then MRP, we have MRP screens that can, Similarly, while we are buying and selling the materials, so accounting screens is there. We are managing into our storage location, so we have a storage and warehouse management screens there for this material. So information, any data fields are displayed for different views. And it is also possible that maybe some common columns might be available in different screens. For example, sales for sure will have the plant number, a storage location. Similarly, purchasing will be having a plant number and purchase storage location. MRP will have a plant number. So it is possible that we can have common columns. So our material data is stored on different levels. The general data is stored on a client level. For example, material number and material descriptions and a unit of measure, size, weight. So all the common information, general information, is stored on the client level. Now, any information related to plant will be stored on a plant level. In other words, we have like 3 plants. So if you enter a data for one plant, so you have to specify that, okay, this is Miami 00 plant. And that information is not available when you will go to the Dallas plant. So for Dallas plant, you have to enter a different information or additional information. But this general data is available for both plants. So we don't have to enter any plant number to see the general data of this material. So then we have like storage location information. So our data is stored on different level. One is on client level, another data is on the plant level, and then for the storage location level as well. Now, again, you can see that. So material information, initial material data, then we have when you created a purchase when you created a purchase order. So one information is available on the top that is valid um, um, for the all, you can say, material, for example, the material number and the material description. And then we have like another level that is for different views, like purchasing views or the sales view or the accounting view, MRP views. And when you go into any of the views, then you will find the additional sub-level. So we have data that is stored on different levels. If you're talking about a purchasing order, for example, then you'll see the material, the common information. How much is the purchase order date or purchase order number? The total amount of this order will be displayed on the screen. And then we have line items, and every line item might be having a scheduling line. This material will be scheduled on this one. So we are having like different levels of screens. Now we'll talk about another master data, that is vendor specific master data. That is what we call, okay, this is the vendor master data. Vendor master data is again stored on different level. If you remember that when we were creating customer records in our sales and distribution system, at that time we have a general data, and then some data is stored on the company code level, and then some data is stored on the sales organization level. So there were three different locations where we were storing the data of the customer. Similarly, the vendor master data is also stored on different levels. One is general data that is stored on the client level. Then we have some company code data, because we are going to purchase material from this vendor. So he will be dealing with our accounting system. And for accounting, we need to have a company code. And then this customer is dealing with a purchasing organization. So we must store some information related to the purchasing organization in that particular record. So this is how our data is stored on different levels. You can manage the data centrally or separately. So we have different transaction views. For example, we have MK03. This is the transaction code. You can manage without company code. And you can just manage the purchasing data and the general data. But if you go for the complete any XK03, then you can manage general data, the purchasing organization data, and the accounting data. So you have different options to maintain data centrally or maintain data separately. That's what we are talking about, vendor master data. After vendor data, we have purchasing info record. Actually, when we create the purchase order, at that time, system automatically saved that particular records into the purchasing info record. So first time when we'll create the purchasing order, We will pull some information from the vendor's master data, we'll pull some information from the material master data, and we will pull some information from the condition master data. Okay, so we are pulling information from different sources. Once we save that purchase order, then what will happen? Computer will store the same information into purchasing info record for future use. Just in case we want to purchase the same material from the same buyer. So as soon as we create the purchase order for that particular material or for that particular vendor, computer will pull all the information from this records. So instead of pulling data from 3-4 different tables, now we are pulling data from just one table. And this will also store the last purchase order number as well as a reference. So now this purchase info record will contain information from the vendor, from the material, and also from the condition master data. And this will also contain the further information that how much time it will take to delivery, planned delivery or the under delivery tolerance or over delivery tolerance, how much. So all these informations are maintained in the purchasing info record. And this is again another master record. So we talk about the vendor master record, we talk about material master record, and now we are talking about, we talked about purchasing info record, which is a master record. Now, we have a condition master data. So this condition master data helps you in determining the final order price. So whether you are creating a quotation or you are creating an online agreement or info record or purchase order, you are pulling the data from the condition master data. Is there any discount on that material or freight charges or any taxes? So, or any fixed charges, everything that comes from the condition master data into your purchase order. So basically, this condition master data helps you in determining the final purchase order price. Now we'll start the business processes. And the first business process is the purchase requisition. So we just finished organizational data, and we finished the master data, and now we are going to the business processes. And the first business process is create a purchase requisition. And you can create the purchase requisition manually or automatically. You can create the purchase requisition from the supply chain management applications, from supplier relation management applications. When you create them manually, you are pulling the data actually from the master data and from the catalog. Same is the case with the supply chain. So whenever you create the purchase requisition, you are pulling the data from the catalog, from the master data, And from this purchase requisition, you can create request for quotation, You can create outline agreement or purchase order. By the way, these two, outline agreement and purchase order, they are like a purchase order. Request for quotation is another document, additional document that you can collect information from different vendors, get the best price. And from request for quotation, RFQ, you can create the purchase order. By the way, you can also, when you're running the MRP, if the shortage is there, the system will automatically create the purchase requisition. If you are creating a maintenance order, and during the maintenance of an equipment, and you find the shortage of the material, then system will automatically create the purchase requisition. And we have different network, in project management. We have a network, and network is based on activities, different activities. If you connect them together, it becomes a network. So in a network of activities, if you need some material and you find the shortage, the system will automatically create the purchase requisition from network as well. So when I say network, means network of the activities. It could be, maintenance activity. It could be purchasing activity. It could be anything. Now, when you so you can create purchase requisition manually. Then you can determine the source of supply. You can also mention the source of supply within the purchasing organization. But remember, in the end, purchasing organization is responsible for determining the source of supply. And it is the purchasing organization, they will convert your purchase requisition to request for quotation. Or if they accept the source of supply from which you mentioned, then they can directly create the purchase order. So basically, this is the purchase requisition processing. So you can process, you can process purchase requisition to create, or you can convert into request for quotation, and you can convert into purchase order as well. Now, so when we are purchasing the material, one of the material is consumable material. And this material, we don't keep it in our storage location. We purchase it and we use it. So for example, and when we use it, basically we are using in different cost centers or different cost objects. We'll talk about the cost object after a few slides. Now, for example, we have office supplies that for sure we got it on the request of the employees, and we will distribute it. We will not keep it into our storage location. So for example, we have a photocopy machine that we declared it as a cost center. So whenever we purchase material for that photocopy machine, we will pass it on to that cost center. If we purchase any computer, we will assign it as an asset. So they will become the assets. So they will not go to our storage location, or we will not keep it as a material master record. So we don't have to keep it in the storage location or in our inventory. If you're purchasing a material, consumable material, and we don't have a master record for that, we will purchase it and we will assign it to the project or to particular cost center. That is possible. We have purchased material master, consumable material we purchased. For example, the photocopy machine paper. And this paper, we are also keeping it for other usage as well. Maybe we want to keep it instead of purchasing all the time. So we will create a material master record. We will purchase this. Okay, let me give you another example for that. We got an order from a customer that he needs five packs of boxes of papers, and we keep that paper in our storage location. But unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have that material in our storage location. But we got the order of 5 boxes of paper. So what we will do, we will purchase it like a consumer. It has a material master record, but now we are purchasing it for that particular sales order. So we will buy it as a consumable material and we will assign it to that particular sales order. So it will not be the subject of the inventory. We will not keep it into our inventory. No. And it will not be on the value based as well. So the value of our inventory will not be increased. The quantity of our inventory will not be increased, because although it has a material master record. So, but now we are buying it as a consumable material because we got a sales order. So this material will directly go to that sales order. So this will become the consumable material. So we are buying a material, for example, and that material might not have any value. It will not increase the value, but you will keep it but it will be a subject to the inventory. So, for example, we purchased a photocopy machine, and it comes with like five manuals, So those manual, we will record it, we will keep it in our inventory. But those 5 manual does not have any value, So that material will not have any value to our inventory. But yeah, quantity wise, yes, 5 manuals are available. And that is again consumable material, huh? With a material master record, but it is not subject to value, but subject to inventory count, quantity. So these are some examples of the consumable material. Now, so when you purchase a material and that is a consumable material, we will assign that material to one of these, cost objects. One of these, either it will be an asset, or we will assign it to the cost center, or we will assign it to the project or sales order or production order, but we will not assign it to the inventory. Okay, so remember this account assignment category. Yani whenever you create a purchase order, there is one column there, and that column is account assignment category. If you don't fill that, it will go to our inventory. Okay, so if you don't fill that column, account assignment category, then this material is subject to the inventory. It will go directly to the inventory, and it will create 2 documents. One is material document, that okay, the inventory, the quantity of my inventory is increased, and the value of my inventory is also increased. And that is if you are not buying as a consumable material. But if we are buying a consumable material, then we must assign account assignment category. Whether this is for we are purchasing this material for as an asset, or as a cost center, or as a project, or production order, or a sales order. So that is what we have to, So this account assignment category column determines whether it's a consumable material or an inventory material. Now, if you see here, so this is a stock material which has a material master record. So maybe we purchase that material and we are keeping it in our stock, but now we need to consume it. So we can get that material, we can assign the assignment category. For what reason we are consuming? Maybe it is an asset. So, okay, it will be an asset category, and we will assign that to an employee because we are having a computer or laptop. We will assign that we assign it as an asset to that particular employee. Or if it is a photocopy machine paper, so we will assign with this code, you can assign it to that particular cost center. So this account assignment category will determine where the material is going. Now, we are purchasing material, and that is purchasing as a consumable material. That will, and it has a master record, we will enter the account assignment category and it will directly go for the consumption, either to that cost center or sales order or project or production order or maintenance order. It will directly go there. Maybe it does not have a master record, doesn't matter. So consumable material without master record, we can use it for our consumption directly. So maybe the material is available in the stock and we want to use it for our, for these reasons, or we can assign the account assignment category and we can consume it. We can purchase the consumable material with or without master record and we can use it like that. Now we'll create the purchase order. So we can create the purchase order from a previous purchase order. We can create a purchase order without any reference, directly create the purchase order, directly enter the customer name or vendor name and then enter the material number. So you are creating material without any reference, yani from scratch. You can create the purchase order number from a previous purchase order number, or from purchase requisition, or from quotation, or from contract, So you can, these are the different sources you can use to create a purchase order. And then you can send it to the vendor or to some other plant. Okay. Maybe you have like 3 plants and some material is available from in another plant. So instead of purchasing the material from the market, you can get it from that particular plant because they're not using it and they're just keeping it. So we can send this purchase order to other plant, or we can send this purchase order to other vendors. And guys, if you have any question on any slides, please stop me. Now, the purchase order has a header data and purchase order has a line items. So we have a header item and then we have like item portion that contains or describes the material or the services which we are planning to order. Now, this is how the purchase order screen look like. This is a single screen divided into different sections. We have a header section, we have an item section, and then item detail. So for example, and then we do have a document overview as well. This document overview, you can have different documents available that you can use to create this purchase order. The header will contain information that, for example, the total order amount or the vendor name or the vendor number. This will be on the top because this applies to the whole of your purchase order. And now the item overview, maybe for example, you are buying a chain lock. Now, further information of that particular chain lock is available at the bottom in the item detail. Maybe you are looking for scheduling, you order for 100 chain lock and 50 you need this week and the 50 you need next week. So that detail will be available in this detail line. You can minimize the, different portion of the screen. You can collapse and you can expand. Just click on this key, you can minimize or maximize the items. Similarly, you can collapse this document overview, if you see here, collapse and expand. That facility is there. Now, okay, Umar, inshallah, after we finish this class, then I'll look into your issue. We have okay, once we create the purchase order, now we want to send it to the vendor. So in systems, in SAP system, they call it a message. So message is a document in the output format. It could be a purchase requisition. If you printed a purchase requisition, it will become a message. If you printed a purchase order, it will become a message. Any in document format, that will be your message. So you can print it through the printer or through email or PDF or fax or electronic data interchange, you can use in any format and send it to the customer or send it to the vendor. Now, our purchasing system is linked with the Ariba as well, Ariba network. So SAP purchased this Ariba in 2012, is worth like $4.3 billion they paid for that. It's an online market, just like Amazon or Alibaba. So this digital marketplace, this is for the business to business, okay? It's not business to consumers, something like that. So it's business to business. And this Ariba is operating in like 190 countries. And wherever SAP, they are using SAP, so they are using Ariba network as well. And just an example, $2.1 trillion goods and services are purchased every year on this platform, on the Ariba platform. Now, with this Ariba platform, you can collaborate immediately with the trading partners. You can be immediately from paper to electronic, transactions. If there is any error, you can catch them quickly. It will help you in reducing the cost of goods, and you can see some opportunities, and participate worldwide in any activities. And maybe you will find some good manufacturers, cheap manufacturer, or maybe you are a manufacturer and you find some good customers worldwide. So this is a nice place, You can integrate this Ariba with SAP, Business Suite. So if you are using Ariba with SAP Business Suite, then basically your purchase orders and invoice automation is done. Discount management is through Ariba. And the catalog, which contains all the material information, is available with Ariba procurement. Now we'll talk about the good receipts. So when you make the good receipts, so after the purchase order, you have to receive the goods. The vendor will definitely send you the goods which you have ordered for. So when you receive the goods, you will always create two different documents. One is the material document that will make sure that you have how much quantity is added to your inventory. And then the second one will be the accounting document. What is the new value? This will contain the value of the inventory which you are adding. So at the end, you will come to know the total, your inventory value will be increased with this addition. And similarly, your total inventory will be increased from the quantity point of view as well. And you are receiving the goods from the purchase order, or from the delivery note of the guys who are sending you the material, the vendors. It is possible. It is possible you order, you make a purchase order for 100 items and you're receiving like 50 because of the scheduling agreement. So you receive the 50 and later on you will receive another 50 when the material will come. And so that is through the delivery note. So they are delivering like 50 items. So you are making receiving from that particular delivery note. So every time you make a good receipt, the quantity, the material document will be created and it will update your quantity. An accounting document will be created and it will update your stock value. And when you make a good receipt for a particular purchase order, it will update the purchase order history. Yani, now we receive 50 material, and this purchase order will be updated with the 50 quantity. And when you receive the rest of the 50 items, and it will be updated again. The purchase order will be updated again that we receive now 50 quantity, a total is 100. And this purchase order will be updated accordingly, and it will be closed. Now we have, when you receive the goods, you will be using a 101 movement key. This is a very interesting concept, guys. So you're receiving with the movement key 101. Now you have three options that you can select. Either you are posting it as a unrestricted use stock or a block stock or for the quality inspection. So you have like any receiving will have a movement type 101. And then you have like three stock types that you can pick. So if you select the unrestricted use, means you can, as soon as you receive, you can start using that material without any quality inspection, without any having block stock. So you can use it. If it is for quality inspection, movement type is 101. Okay, you are doing the quality inspection. Once your quality inspection is done, you can change the stock type to unrestricted use. So this will be, so you don't have to move the material, by the way. The only thing is you just need to update the status that it is now unrestricted use. Similarly, you have some block item, block stock, but it is not available. Block mean it is not available for your. If you are running the MRP, for example, this material is like chain lock, and you need chain lock for your production, but it is blocked. So when the MRP will run, computer will not count this as our available material. It will not. It will just ignore this part because it is blocked. Why? Maybe the material which we have is having some deficiency. So that is why we put it into the block, or some other reason. So unless this block stocks status will be changed to unrestricted use, we will not use this material, and it will not be used in your MRP as well. Now, stock overview. All your stocks are available in your storage location, if you see here. Now the quantity will be added and it will be presented on the plant level. So if you say, I want to see the plant level, then it will count all these storage locations. And if you say that I want to have a total on the company code level, then all plants in that company codes will be added and it will be presented on this one. And for the client level, you can see that you will have all company codes, whatever the material they have, will be available on that particular client. So here we see that we have a movement type is a 3-digit key that differentiate the goods movement, whether it's coming or going back. So if it is coming, it will be like 101. So we are getting this, we are receiving these goods into our storage location. The movement type is 101. Oh, this material, we are returning it back to the vendor. So it will be 122. So, so basically, movement type determines, differentiate between whether we are receiving or we are sending back, or is a cancel order or whatever is there. So this will movement type also determine the screen layout, guys. If it is a return screen, the column or the screen layout will be different. If you are receiving, the screen layout will be different. So this is an exam question as well. The movement type also determine the screen layout. So the answer is true, yes. The movement type also determine the screen layout. And if you want to cancel, the cancellation will always be +1. So you're receiving this and you want to cancel this receiving, so you have to enter the 102. And if you're returning the 122, if you're returning the item and you say, oh, I made mistake, I want to cancel this return, so you have to make 123, the +1, movement type. So create another movement type with +1. Now, if the goods movement is relevant to inventory valuation, yani if the goods movement that increases the value of my inventory, the system will create the accounting document. If the goods movement increase the quantity of my inventory, then material document will be created. So the goods movement can be from good receipts, from goods issue, and also from transfer posting. Now remember, if the goods movement is increasing our value of the inventory or the quantity of the inventory, then material or accounting document will be created. If it is not, then the both document will not be created. So that must make an impact on our inventory, either the value wise or the material wise. So this is the image, or you can say that how the accounting document looks like, or the material documents looks like. The material document has the quantity you see here, and the accounting document has the price. And they must have at least one item, at least one item to create the material document, at least one item to create the accounting document. Now, we are making the good receipt, by the way. And so good receipt, we know that it will create two different documents, material documents and the accounting documents, because with the good receipts, inventory will be changed, the total number of inventory, the total value of the inventory will be increased. So that is why we need to have two, it will create two documents. Now, it will also in addition to creating the material document, it will update the inventory quantity as well. And in addition to creating this accounting document, it will update the value of the inventory as well. So the price is updated, the average price, the moving price will be updated into the material master record as well. So for example, we We purchased the material for $10 before, and now we are buying it for $15. Now it will create the moving average price of this material. So maybe it might be costing like $13 or $14 average price. So once we got the average price, then it will sell accordingly, according to the average price. So with the help of when we make the good receipts, the GL account will be updated. The quality management inspection will be generated. You know, if the material is subject to the quality management, then it will be. If this material is for moving to warehouse, okay, then transfer requirement for that particular will be created. And the purchase order history will be updated. So with one good receipts, we are doing many things. The update, the value and the quantity, um, material master document will be created, accounting will be created, warehouse management, quality management, update the assets balance, update the purchase order history. So many things are happening at the time of good receipts. And this good receipts has many questions in the exam as well. So be careful on this part. Now we have quality management, if you are receiving the material, then basically, and that material is respect to the inspection, then quality management is on. Inspection can be at the source, then we will receive the certificate with that product. Now, for example, the Apple iPhone, they are manufacturing in China. So they come with a certificate that, okay, these are verified, checked, and quality inspection is done. So that is why when we directly send it to the stores for the selling, all the responsibility of the quality maintenance is on the manufacturer then. With this quality management or quality inspection, we can do the vendors evaluation. We can do the complaint processing through the quality management. We can control the purchasing processes with this quality management. Now, once we receive the item, now we'll go with the invoice verification. So we receive the invoice from the vendor, and invoice verification will complete the purchasing process in material master management. We'll post the invoice. So once we post the invoice, system will update the purchase order history that, okay, this item is almost be paid, and in the accounting system, an open item is posted to the vendor account. Yani we have to make the payment to that vendor. So it will it will create an open item against that vendor into our accounting system. So once we make the payment run, this open item will be closed. So with the invoice entry into the system, we are updating the purchase order history, and we will create one open item in our accounting system. Invoice verification can be done through the purchase order. We can verify with the help of purchase order whether we receive these items or not, from the delivery note number, delivery document, or from the bill of lading. All three sources can be used to verify the invoice. And if there's any discrepancy between the in the invoice value and the And we were expecting, like, okay, we may have, plus minus tolerance level, that okay, the invoice can come, maybe plus $10 or $5 or $50. We can ignore that part. But if it is beyond that tolerance level, the invoice will be blocked. System will not let you make any payment. So this one check is there. Now, so invoice document basically consists of a header and at least one item. Okay. So when you post the invoice, it will let you verify the material quantity which you receive. And the accounting document will display the general ledger posting as a result of this invoice receipt. So one more time, once you post the invoice, when you save the invoice, basically by posting, you're done the invoice verification. An accounting document display the general ledger posting. So it will become a general ledger posting when you save the invoice. Now, so we verified, once we save the invoice means we accept that invoice. And now the effect of invoice saving will be, it will create the accounting document. And it will create an open item for that particular customer. It will update the purchase order history. And if the price is different than the purchase order price and we accept it, then the moving average price will be recalculated for that particular material master. So purchase order history will be updated. Material master, the moving average price will be recalculated if there's a difference in the price of purchase order and the invoice. This accounting document will be created. Vendor account will create an open item in the vendor account. Now, so this will be like entry view. So if you see here, we are having a vendor amount. Then we have like taxes. And then we are having services. So segment A, segment B. Now we are talking of, this is like, this is from the cost accounting point of view, the managerial accounting point of view, this segment A and segment B. So if the document splitting is on, this transaction will be divided into two segments. Okay, maybe we are buying the material for segment A and then we are buying the material for segment B, but it is from the same vendor. So maybe this is cost center 1 and this is cost center 2. Or maybe this is the cost center, this might be a production order, or this might be a sales order. Segment A might be a sales order and segment B might be cost center. And we are getting these material from this vendor for these two different location at one time. Now, if you see here, with this segment accounting, we know that the services for 4,000 is buy from for this cost center, and services for 6,000 is buys for this production order maybe, or cost and another cost center. But the taxes, we don't know how much taxes will be for the segment A and how much taxes will be for the segment B, or how much amount is for the segment from this vendor for segment A and from this. So this amount and this taxes, the vendor amount and the taxes is not distributed. So we have to create a separate transactions to balance them out. The balance, to make it a balance entry for debit and credit should be zero for the segment A, for cost center 1, and for cost center 2 we have to make it like a so maybe we have to enter this manually, additional entries. But if you have activated this document splitting, which is available in the new system, by the way, then you don't have to do it manually. The system will do automatically. Now, if you see here, before we were having like vendor account, we have 11,600. Now, if you see here, we are having vendor account, which is payable, like 4,600. So we split the amount for that particular vendor. So from cost center A, we are having like, account payable to this customer, to this vendor. And the tax amount is 640. And the total was 1,100. If you go back, total was like 1,600. And now 860 and 640, we split that amount. So the balance is 0 and the balance is 0. So in this case, whenever we want to have a balance sheet for this cost center or segment A, this is in the cost accounting, we will get the balance sheet equally. And similarly, we can get that one as well. But before the document splitting, we have to do the things manually. Otherwise, we won't be able to get the balance sheet or income statement for the segment A and segment B. We cannot get the financial reports unless we made the entry for separate entries, extra entries for these two manually. So if you activated the document splitting, then system will do all these things automatically. Now, automatic payment run. So once we enter the invoices into our system, now is the time that we have to make the payment run. So you can run the payment program manually, or you can run the program automatically. You can fix the time, and it will, maybe over the weekend, it will run, and it will print it will process the payment for the customers based on the invoices. So you have two options: either you can run manually or you can run automatically. Now, so when you make the payment run, it will post the payment documents. It will clear the open items. Every customer we have to make so once you run the payment program, so it will print the checks or it will make the online transfers, and it will clear the open item. Means we don't have to pay this customer or this vendor anymore. That is, processing is done, payment is done. So now, so we'll see that how we can integrate. So integration point, guys, this is the last slide. So we'll go with the integration point. So when you create the MRP, so when you run the MRP, system will create the purchase requisition, because the shortage of material found, and system will create the purchase requisition. This is one thing. And it is attached to the managerial accounting or management accounting or cost accounting. When you create the purchase requisition, and that purchase requisition is for a consumable material that we want to consume it. Oh, at that time, system will create a commitment, yani it will reserve the amount of the same purchase requisition. So purchase requisition is for $1,000. So it will reserve the $1,000 in your managerial accounting. Or if you created a purchase order, again, if you created a purchase order for a consumable material, it will reserve that amount into our cost accounting or controlling or managerial accounting. Last time when I requested for the SAP software purchase, what had happened in the system, they created a commitment of $7,500 to purchase that software services. Now, I got a receipt from invoice from the SAP, and they say that Tariq, you need to pay $35 additional in addition to that $7,500 for our bank charges. Now, I requested the business purchasing department. I said, please add this $35 into that. Now, what they have done, they say, okay, we'll try to create, we'll try to adjust that amount into the purchase order. Now, to change that purchase order, they have to release that commitment. Surprised, as soon as they release the commitment, I lost all my $7,500. Those $7,500 got allotted to another purchase order by the system. So then I have to go again, for the whole process to get that money commitment for that purchase requisition. So actually, it was supposed to be like they have to keep that commitment with that purchase order, and they have to create another purchase order for that, or something like that. But I learned through the hard way that once the commitment is there, never lose that commitment. Keep that with your purchase order, and don't let anybody do plus minus with that commitment. So when we receive the goods, when we receive the goods in the purchasing system, it will increase your inventory. So it will create the material document. It will increase the value of your inventory. So it will create the financial document. And if there is any commitment, the commitment will be decreased because you are receiving the amount, the commitment will be minus. So for example, if you receive the 50% of your products, then 50% of the commitment will be minus. And you receive the material of $500, so $500 will be minus. At the end, if you receive 100% items, you receive all the commitment will become zero. So at the same time, upon receiving of goods, it will update the purchase order history. Remember, guys, this purchase order history, exam question, commitment management, consumable material, exam questions. And these slides are very important. And now once you receive the invoice, it will again update the purchase order history, and it will update the management accounting, and the financial accounting will be done, and your payment is processed. So that's it for for today's lesson. If you have any question, guys, feel free to ask me. So inshallah, next time we'll go with the lesson number 6.